If you're a business owner and you constantly feel like there are not enough hours in your day, you probably don't need more time, you may need help. Let's face it, maybe you're answering emails, booking meetings, following up with customers, updating spreadsheets, posting on social media, preparing reports, doing research, and still trying to focus on actually growing the business. At some point, doing everything yourself becomes very expensive, and that is where a virtual assistant can completely change how you operate. But here's the problem. Hiring a virtual assistant is not simply about posting, I need a VA who is available. No. If you hire without understanding what you actually need, you can easily end up with the wrong person, unclear expectations, and frustration on both sides. So in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to hire a virtual assistant step by step, from identifying what you need to delegate all the way to onboarding and managing your virtual assistant successfully. Whether you're a founder, an entrepreneur, a coach, a consultant, an executive, or a business owner, this guide is for you. So without wasting time, let's get started. Before you start looking for a virtual assistant, don't start with the person, start with the work. So for the next few days, I want you to pay attention to everything you do in your business. And I want you to ask yourself, what am I doing repeatedly? What is taking too much of my time? What does not necessarily require me to do it personally? So once you have your list, identify which tasks can be delegated. Now, here's something very important. Do not delegate the tasks that you hate. Delegate tasks that are taking attention away from the activities that actually grow your business. For example, if you're spending 3 hours every week scheduling meetings, those 3 hours could potentially be spent talking to customers, closing deals, building partnerships, or developing your product. That is the real value of delegation. Now, not every virtual assistant does the same thing, and this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see businesses make. They write a job description asking one person to do administration, to do bookkeeping, social media management, customer support, website management, and automation. Now, this is not one VA role. That is an entire department that you're looking for. So you need to determine what is your primary need. Are you looking for an executive VA for calendar management, inbox management, travel, reports, research, and executive support? Or do you need an admin VA for data entry, spreadsheets, filing, and general business administration? Or maybe your need is a customer support VA, to manage your emails, your tickets, your WhatsApp messages, your CRM updates, and customer follow-ups. Or maybe you've not just identified that you need a social media VA for scheduling content, engagement, basic content creation, and analytics. And you need to be very clear the type of virtual assistant that you want to hire. What is their specialty? Is it finance? Is it bookkeeping? Is it project management? That needs to be very clear. You see, once you understand your business problem, choosing the right type of a virtual assistant becomes much easier. Now, the next question is, how much support do you actually need? You don't always need to hire someone full-time. If you're just starting out, you may need someone for 10 or 20 hours per week. For example, if you mainly need inbox management, scheduling, research, and weekly reporting, a part-time VA may be enough. But if your VA will be managing several operation areas throughout the day, handling customers, managing projects, and working closely with your team, you may eventually need a full-time support. So ensure that you start with your workload. Estimate how many hours those delegated responsibilities will take every week. This will help you determine whether you need a project-based support, hourly support, part-time support, or full-time support. Now that you understand the role, you need to create a very clear job description. Do not write looking for an experienced virtual assistant to send your CVs. No, your job description should tell candidates what success in that role looks like. Let me break this down for you. Number one, you need a job title for your VA. Be very specific. Is it executive VA? Is it a social media manager? Is it customer support? Say the title. Number two, about your business. Give the candidate a short introduction to who you are and what your company does. Number three, you need to be very specific about the responsibilities. Is it managing a founder's calendar? Is it monitoring and organizing the inbox? Is it scheduling meetings, and what meetings? Is it internal or external? Is it preparing weekly reports? Are they coming in to update client information in HubSpot? Are they coming to do online research? Are they coming to manage project boards? You need to be very clear on the responsibilities. Number four, mention something about the required skills that you're looking for. Is it excellent written English? Is it strong organization skills? Are you looking for someone who has attention to details, good communication, time management? Are you looking for someone who has good problem solving skills? Mention something to do with the skills. Number five, mention the tools that they will use. Is it Google Workspace? Is it Slack? Is it Zoom? Is it Asana? Is it HubSpot? Are they coming to use Notion, Canva, Microsoft Office, or whichever tools that your company actually uses? Mention that. Number 6, working hours. Be very clear about your time zone and availability expectations. If you need someone who will be online during UK business hours, say it. If your role is flexible, say that as well. And lastly, compensation. Where possible, provide a salary or an hourly range. It saves both you and the candidate a lot of unnecessary back and forth. Now we get to recruitment. There are several platforms where businesses can find virtual assistants. You can use freelancing platforms, you can use remote job boards, you can use LinkedIn, you can use professional communities, referrals, or we even have specialized virtual assistant talent companies. Now, each of these options has its own advantages and disadvantages. Let me give you an example. If you post publicly, you may receive a very large number of applications. That means your next challenge becomes vetting. This is why specialized talent providers can be very helpful because instead of starting with the hundreds of applications, you can work with a provider that has already trained or skilled or vetted candidates based on the specific role requirements. Now, regardless of where you recruit, don't hire simply because someone has virtual assistant written on their profile. Ensure that you evaluate their actual ability. Now, when applications start coming in, don't only look at the CV. Look at the full application. Start with communication. Did they follow your instructions? Did they answer your questions properly? Is the communication clear? Did they customize the application? Did they understand your business or your role? If you requested for things like LinkedIn profile or a portfolio, ensure that you review all of that. Now, how do you determine a strong virtual assistant? A strong virtual assistant candidate has a combination of all this that I'm going to mention. Relevant experience, professional communication, strong organization ability, technical proficiency, problem-solving skills, reliability, attention to detail, and ability to learn. Very important. Now, you do not always need the person with 10 years of experience. Sometimes the strongest candidate is the person who communicates well, learns quickly, follows instructions, and takes ownership. Now, this step is extremely important. If someone says, I'm very good at Google Calendar, can you give them a scheduling scenario and watch how they handle it? If they say, I'm excellent at research, for example, give them a short research assignment and see how they handle it. If the role involves customer support, you can give them a sample customer complaint and ask them to draft a response. If the role involves spreadsheets, you can give them like a simple data set. If the role involves executive support, you could create a scenario such as you can tell them your executive has 3 meetings scheduled at the same time. One is an internal meeting, one is a client meeting, and one is an investor meeting. What will you do? Now, this is very important because you're evaluating more than knowledge. You're actually evaluating judgment, and that is very important. You need that in your business. Now, as you do this, keep the assessments reasonable because you're not simply asking candidates to complete like free work for your business. You want to test ability. So ensure that the assessments you're giving out are very reasonable and related to your business. Let's move to the interview, my favorite. Now, your interview should help you understand how the person thinks. Do not ask, tell me about yourself. No, you need to ask scenario-based questions. Let me give you an example. Can you please tell me about a time you had several urgent tasks at once and how did you prioritize them? What will you do if I gave you a task and you didn't understand the instructions? How do you handle confidential business information? What will you do if you realize I have forgotten a very important meeting? How do you communicate when you're running behind on a task? How do you organize your work? Now, one of my favorite questions is this. Tell me about a problem you solved without being told exactly what to do. Now, scenario-based questions are very important because ultimately you want a virtual assistant who can think, not someone who needs instructions like every 5 minutes. No. Now, if your candidate will be working, especially for remote setup, you need to understand their working environment. Ask about their internet reliability. Do they have a backup internet? Do they have access to computer? What is their availability? What are their time zones? What is their communication channels? Do they have like a power backup where relevant? And what is their experience working independently? Now, this is not about expecting like a perfect setup. It's about understanding whether the person has thought about how they will consistently deliver their work. Now, hiring the right person and onboarding them badly can still lead to failure. Do not hire someone on Monday and expect them to understand your entire business by Tuesday. It's not possible. Ensure that you take them through the right onboarding process. So you can start by introducing them to your company, your products or services, your customers, your team, your communication style. What are your tools? What does your workflow look like? What are your priorities and what are your expectations? After that, you can now give them access to the systems that they need. Where possible, create an SOP. You can use Google Docs, Loom, Notion, or your preferred knowledge management tool. Now, SOPs are very important because instead of repeatedly saying, this is how I want my weekly reports prepared, you can create an SOP showing exactly how the report should be completed. You see, the more organized your systems are, the easier it becomes for your virtual assistant to support you. Now, during the first few weeks, don't overwhelm your virtual assistant with everything at once. You need to start with clearly defined responsibilities. Let's say, for example, you have hired an executive virtual assistant. Week 1, you can start with inbox organization and calendar management. Then week 2, you can add meeting preparations and follow-ups. Week 3, you can add research and reporting. And then week 4, you can now introduce another operational responsibility. As the person understands your business, you can gradually delegate more. This also helps to build trust. Let's talk about micromanagement. One mistake small business owners make after hiring a VA is turning delegation into micromanagement. You see, if you have to supervise every click, every email, every minute, you have not actually freed yourself, right? Instead, you need to establish like clear outcomes. Let me give you examples. Rather than saying, I need you online every second, checking every email, you can say all priority emails should be acknowledged within our agreed response window, and my inbox should be organized before end of day each working day. Now that becomes measurable, right? Another example, instead of saying follow up with clients, define what that means. Follow up with all outstanding clients every Tuesday and every Thursday and update their status in CRM. With that, everyone understands the expectation, and this just makes work easier. Please do not replace delegation with micromanagement. It means you've not freed up your time, and we want you to free up your time. Let's talk about communication. Good remote teams normally communicate intentionally. You could have like a short daily check-in. You can have weekly planned meetings, end of day reports, weekly performance reports, or project-based updates. It's very important for your VA to know what needs to be reported, when it needs to be reported, where it should be reported, and when something should be escalated. For example, you can have Slack for everyday communication, Asana for tasks, Google Drive for documents, email for external communication, and then Zoom for weekly check-ins. Now, after the first 30 days, you need to review the working arrangement, see how it's working. Ask yourself, are the tasks being completed accurately? Is the communication clear and good? Are the deadlines being met? Is the virtual assistant taking initiative? Are you actually saving time? Remember that was the goal. Where do you still have bottlenecks? What responsibility could they take over next? And also ask your VA, what can I do differently to help you work more effectively? Because delegation is a two-way process. Sometimes the problem is not the VA. Sometimes the business owner has not simply provided enough context, enough documentation, enough access or clarity. Once your systems are clear, communication becomes much easier. Now, I want to leave you with this. The biggest mistake when hiring a virtual assistant is expecting a VA to fix a business that has no systems. Your VA can help create the systems, they can improve processes, they can organize operations, but you still need to communicate what matters. The best VA relationship happens when you combine the right person plus clear expectations plus good systems and consistent communication. That is when delegation becomes powerful. Now, if you're still wondering where to start, begin with the tasks that are repetitive, the tasks that are time consuming, documentable, necessary but not dependent on your unique expertise. Let me give you a simple rule that I like to use. If someone else can do it at 80% of your standard with the right instructions, consider delegating it. You can always review and improve the process together. So if you're considering hiring a VA, don't rush straight into recruitment. First, identify what you need, define the role, create a clear job description, screen carefully, test practical skills, interview for judgment and communication, set clear expectations, and most importantly, onboard properly. Now, the goal is not simply to hire someone who can complete, tasks. The goal is to find someone who can become a reliable extension of your business. So, if you like some help getting started, I created a free business owners virtual assistant hiring and delegation starter kit. You can use this kit to identify what to delegate, structure your VA role, and prepare for hiring process. You can find this kit in the description or the comment section below. Now, if you're looking for trained and vetted virtual assistant talent, that is also part of what we do at FlowMate Talent. We help businesses to connect with professionals who have been prepared for real remote work. So, if you find this video helpful, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with another business owner who is doing absolutely everything themselves right now. Please comment below if you hired a virtual assistant today. What is the first task that you will delegate? I would love to hear your answers. See you in the next one. Bye bye.